Good evening, everybody. We are live here at Agenda Free TV to give you an update on the Trump versus Colombia immigration feud that has been going on today. The Colombia foreign minister is supposed to have some sort of, there you're looking at a live shot from AFP. The Colombia foreign minister is supposed to have some kind of press conference tonight about it, although I think it might be in Spanish. But maybe we'll show it anyway. And we want to bring you the latest updates on the Trump versus Colombia immigration feud. Both Colombia and Trump are promising tariffs against each other. And we are bringing you live breaking news coverage. And we're going to get you up to date on the latest and keeping an eye out for that press conference from Bogota, which has not started yet. Okay. So we're going to give you some updates now, but we'll see. And who knows, maybe we'll have some more announcements from the White House tonight about this. Pulling up some different things on my screen right now. Let me just pull up a couple more things here. Where is this thing? Is this it right here? Okay, I got it. So, thanks to our moderators for being here. I really appreciate it. We have moderating right now. Beth Mythical, Ruth Krafasi, Janet B. They're all moderating there. Sabrina's moderating. Thank you. Beth Ski, thanks so much. Linda Belk and Larry on X. Also, thank you to our Twitch moderators. We have... right now, Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star McBritches, and Surly Dev moderating there. And also, thanks to our Facebook moderators. Hang on one moment. Give me a second here. Let me just pull this up. Roberts Mayqueen is, did I say Roberts Mayqueen? Roberts Mayqueen is moderating too. Thanks to our Facebook moderators as well. Kay Lowry Body and Margaret Riley are over there moderating. Thank you. And thanks so much for your support, ZB and Martin Gingrich and Gen X Racer OG and Mika. Thanks for your support. Where to begin with all of this? Let's see. I'm going to kind of maybe try to summarize what's going on, and then we'll start giving you some of the specifics. But a lot has been going on today. And again, there's supposed to be a press conference by the foreign minister of Colombia. Where is this? Look at this. U.S. Oh, hold on. What's this? What's happening? Oh, it's just people walking down the stairs. Just people walking down the stairs there. All right, anyways, we're going to go away from that for now. Let me just put this up here. And we'll put this up here. Oopsie. There. U.S. Colombia clash over deportations and raise tariffs in show of Trump's pledge to limit migration. So this all started today when the U.S. was flying two military planes full of Colombians who were being deported from the U.S. and they were flying them to Colombia. And then the Colombian president, I believe, announced that Colombia was not going to let these U.S. military planes full of deportees to land. He said that he didn't approve of them being on military flights. He did not think the deportees were being treated well and that they should be flown on civilian flights. So after he did not let them land, Trump posted a highly critical post about Colombia doing this and said he was going to put tariffs on Colombia. And then the Colombian president posted that he is going to respond with tariffs on the U.S. That's a really short version. I'm going to show you some of the posts, but that's a really short version of what happened. We have a photo of Gustavo Petro here. He is the Colombian president, and there is Trump right there. So, so that is where things stand right now, is that now maybe they'll come to some agreement and the tariffs will go away. But as of right now, I think Trump said he was going to start with 25% tariffs and then move to 50% after a week. And then the Colombia said they're going to match that. But I don't know. And then there's other things, other measures Trump said he was going to take. I don't know if any of these measures are official yet, except I have seen reported that the U.S. has stopped. I saw reported, if I have this right, that the U.S. stopped processing visas in Colombia to come to the U.S. I believe I saw that. Anyways, I'll get you guys up to date on this. And yeah, one of our viewers said stock up on coffee. That's what Lady Jane said. So let's again, and we're waiting for this press conference thing. Let me just show you that again. Where is it here? Where is it? Here. There's the press conference thing, which we're waiting for. That hasn't started yet. I guess it got delayed from what I saw. Reuters said it got delayed, but it's still supposed to happen. I'd be careful about the Colombia already stepped back thing. So much earlier today, there was reporting that Colombia said that they were sending they would send a presidential plane to pick up the deportees. But well after that, the president of Colombia posted a defiant message saying he was going to impose tariffs on the U.S. So it is certainly not clear that Colombia has given in on this. That is not clear right now. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, that I don't doubt that their government said that at some point today, but that doesn't mean it's happening. And that was before the president of Colombia posted a response to Trump on X. All right, let's get a little summary. We'll do a little summary here, then I'll show you some of the posts. Okay, so AP says the U.S. and Colombia, long close partners in anti-narcotic efforts, clashed today over the deportation of migrants and imposed tariffs on each other's goods in a show of what countries could face if they intervene in the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration. Again, the president of Colombia said it wasn't that we're not going to take these flights, period, but what the president of Colombia said was that he did not approve of the U.S. using military craft to take these deportees to Colombia. Now, there's reporting that also, I believe Marco Rubio posted, I have to pull this up, there's reporting, but I believe Marco Rubio posted, if I remember right, that Colombia had originally said they were going to let these planes land, and then when the planes were in the air, I think he said that they decided not to let them land. So there's that whole thing too. But anyways, we'll show you some of those posts. But back here, just back to the AP article, Presidents Donald Trump and Gustavo Petro, in a series of social media posts, defended their views on migration, with Petro accusing Trump of not treating immigrants with dignity during deportation, and Petro announcing a retaliatory 25% increase in Colombian tariffs on U.S. goods. Earlier, Trump had ordered visa restrictions, 25% tariffs on all Colombian incoming goods to the U.S., which would be raised to 50% in 1 week, and other retaliatory measures sparked by President Petro's decision to reject 2 Colombia-bound U.S. military aircraft carrying migrants. Trump said the measures were necessary because Petro's decision jeopardized national security in the U.S. I'll show you the post from Petro and Trump in a second. Earlier Sunday, Petro said his government would not accept flights carrying migrants deported from the U.S. until the Trump administration creates a protocol that treats them with dignity. He made the announcement in 2 X posts, one of which included a news video of migrants reportedly being deported to Brazil walking on a tarmac with restraints on their hands and feet. Petro said a migrant is not a criminal and must be treated with the dignity that a human being deserves. That is why I returned the U.S. military planes that were carrying Colombian migrants in civilian planes without being treated like criminals. We will receive our fellow citizens. So the president of Colombia is saying, we'll take these deportees, but you have to treat them in a way that we think is respectful. Again, I'll show you the post in a second. AP says Colombia has traditionally been the U.S.'s top ally in Latin America, but their relationship has strained since Petro, a former guerrilla, became Colombia's first leftist president in 2022 and sought distance from the U.S. By the way, Colombia accepted 475 deportation flights from the U.S. during the Biden administration from 2020, well, but Trump and Biden, 2020 to 2024. Colombia is also among the countries that last year began accepting U.S.-funded deportation flights from Panama. A senior administration official told AP, American administration official, this is a clear message we are sending that countries have an obligation to accept repatriation flights. Yes, and as I mentioned to you, Secretary of State Rubio, I'll show you his post too. This is what I mentioned. Secretary of State Rubio said that Petro had canceled his authorization for the flights when the aircraft were in the air. Okay. And I was mentioning this. Petro's government said that the South American country's presidential aircraft had been made available to facilitate the return of migrants who were to arrive hours earlier on the U.S. military airplanes and guarantee them dignified conditions. And you might say, why is the U.S. using military planes to take these deportees to Colombia? Well, as AP says, as part of a flurry of actions to make good on Trump's campaign promises to crack down on illegal immigration, the Trump government is using active duty military to help secure the border and carry out deportations. On Friday, 2 U.S. Air Force C-17 cargo planes carrying migrants touched down in Guatemala, and Honduras received 2 deportation flights as well. All right, maybe we should look at the Trump post about this. Oh, in terms of tariffs, Colombia is the U.S.'s second biggest buyer of corn and corn feed, according to the U.S. Grains Council, helping boost U.S. commodity exports from Farm Belt states like Iowa, Indiana, and Nebraska. Also, Colombia is the U.S.'s 4th largest overseas supplier of crude oil, although booming domestic production has reduced the U.S. dependence on foreign oil. Colombia also is the U.S.'s largest supplier of fresh-cut flowers. All right, so I'm going to show you some of what Trump said and what Petro said. Again, we are waiting for a live press conference from the Foreign Ministry of Colombia. That is a live shot via AFP from Bogota, Colombia. But I don't know when that's going to start. And we're going to be taking comments from you guys. Sasha Lamora thinks Colombia is about to get squished. It's me, Marge says, well, I need my coffee. I believe Colombia exports, don't they also export coffee and bananas to the U.S.? Hang on a moment here. Yes. So the New York Times says the top Colombian exports to the American market include crude oil, coffee, and cut flowers. Also, Colombia is the largest South American market for U.S. agricultural products. I don't know about bananas. I'll have to see if I can find something about bananas. But coffee definitely is a big export. Okay, hang on a second here. All right, so I'm keeping an eye out for this foreign ministry press conference here. You can see here also, Trump imposes tariff sanctions on Colombia after it refuses deportation flights. You know what? I might have a video I can show you real quick too, before I get to the... Yeah, I'm going to show you this video. Hold on. What is this, a video? Here. Let's take a look at a little video here from Reuters. Then we'll show you what Trump himself said and Petro said. All right, so this is an article. Trump imposes tariff sanctions on Colombia after it refuses deportation flights. Again, the Colombian president has said he is going to impose tariffs on the U.S. in response. All right, I'm going to play this real quick for you. Let's do this. I'm pulling this up right now. Did it download here? Here it is. All right. Here is the Reuters video. Little quick video about this. Let's check it out.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday he would impose sweeping retaliatory measures on Colombia, including tariffs, sanctions, and travel bans. The move comes after the South American country turned away 2 U.S. military aircrafts, with migrants being deported as part of the new U.S. administration's immigration crackdown. Trump's swift action appeared aimed at making an example of Colombia, to dissuade other countries from defying him on deportation flights. He said Colombian President Gustavo Petro's refusal jeopardized U.S. national security and has directed his administration to take retaliatory measures. That includes imposing emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States, which will go up to 50% in 1 week, as well as a travel ban and visa revocations on Colombian government officials and its allies. Petro condemned the practice, suggesting it treated migrants like criminals. And in response, Colombia threatened a 50% tariff on U.S. goods. According to the State Department, the United States is Colombia's largest trade and investment partner, and Colombia is also the U.S.'s third largest trade partner in Latin America. Mexico also refused a request last week to let a U.S. military aircraft land with migrants. Trump did not take similar action against Mexico, the U.S.'s largest trade partner, but has said he was thinking of imposing 25% duties on imports from Canada and Mexico on February 1st.
All right, so that's a little background there from Reuters. Again, we're waiting for a live press conference by the Colombian Foreign Ministry on this. NY committee says Trump is not messing around. Lycurgus says, make America coffee again. Fidel Daly says, I don't like Colombian coffee anyway. Thank you, Grevin Scherer. Grevin says they should have entered the country respectfully. Thank you, KYSLDR, for your support. Mrs. Ed 3. Thank you, Mrs. Ed 3. And Skid Row Bach. Skid Row Bach says, still a tie, they have made opening moves. Also, John B., thanks for your support. Nikolai, thanks for your support. And Mika. All right. So I am keeping an eye out for that press conference. It has not started yet. And let's look at... By the way, I have to keep checking and make sure nobody has posted any updates on this. You never know when Trump or, You never know when Trump or Gustavo Petro is going to post something. Okay, let's look at what Gustavo Petro said. I have to find the first where all this started today. He's been posting a lot today, Gustavo Petro. All right, here it is. Okay, so this was a post from Gustavo Petro at 3:41 a.m. That's 3:41 a.m. That's the President of Colombia. He posted, "The U.S. cannot treat Colombian migrants as criminals. I disallow the entry of North American planes with Colombian migrants into our territory. The U.S. must establish a protocol for the dignified treatment of migrants before we receive them." By the way, that is translated. That's a translated post. Translation of the post. Let's do this real quick here. You can see here. So he posted that at 3:41 a.m. He's not saying they definitely won't take them. He's saying you need to treat them a certain way when you send them here. All right. Now, after that, trying to give you a rundown of what happened. So that was the start of this. And then I don't own the rights to the footage, but he had posted something which said, let me show you. He posted migrants. He posted a video which apparently showed Brazil. It apparently showed, hold on. News video of migrants reportedly deported to Brazil walking on a tarmac with restraints on their hands and feet, which I don't have the rights to. But he showed that video, and then he said, he posted on X, a migrant is not a criminal and must be treated with the dignity that a human being deserves. That is why I turned back the U.S. military planes that were carrying Colombian migrants. I cannot allow migrants to remain in a country that does not want them. But if that country sends them back, it must be with dignity and respect for them and for our country. We will receive our fellow citizens on civilian planes without treating them like criminals. Colombia is respected. So again, his position was not that we're not taking these people back. His position has been, we're going to take these people back if you don't want them, but only if you treat them in a way that we feel is respectful. Okay, so he said that. That was posted at 9:30 a.m. And then Trump posted, if you haven't seen it, this was at 1:28 p.m. Now, they've made other posts during the day, but I'm trying to show you the highlighted posts, the most prominent post today. This is what Trump said today at 1:28 p.m. He said, "I was just informed that 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who Trump claims is already very unpopular amongst his people," says Trump. "Petro's denial of these flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States, so I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. 1. Emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the U.S. from Colombia. In 1 week, the 25% tariffs will be raised to 50%. 2. a travel ban and immediate visa revocations on the Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters. 3, visa sanctions on all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government. By the way, the U.S., according to AFP, has stopped issuing visas in Colombia. We'll talk more about that. 4, enhanced customs and border protection inspections of all Colombian nationals and cargo on national security grounds. 5, IEEPA Treasury banking and financial sanctions to be fully imposed. Trump also said, these measures are just the beginning. We will not allow the Colombian government to violate its legal obligations and with regard to the acceptance and return of the criminals they forced into the United States. Now, I don't know that the Colombian government forced these people into the United States, but I can't, there's no evidence that he presented for that, so I can't really speak on that. But as you can see, Trump said this is what's going to happen now. Okay, that was around 1:30. And now, he hasn't posted about that since, but after he posted that, we got some responses from Gustavo Petro, the Colombian president. So let me show you some of his responses. He said, hold on, let me pull this up here. I think this is like not the greatest translation. Translate post. So I think this is I ordered, because it doesn't make sense if it's he ordered. He ordered, I think it's meant to be I ordered the foreign trade minister to raise tariffs on imports from the U.S. by 25%. It wouldn't make sense if it was he ordered, because he's talking about tariffs on goods coming in from the U.S. So I believe this is meant to say, like, we ordered in Colombia the foreign trade minister, I ordered the foreign trade minister to raise tariffs on imports from the U.S. by 25%. The ministry should help direct our exports from Colombia to the whole world other than the U.S. Our exports should be expanded. I invite all Colombian foreign communities to be marketers of our products. American products whose price will rise within the national economy of Colombia must be replaced by national production, and the government will help in this regard. He posted that at 4:28 p.m. about 4 hours ago. Then after this, Gustavo Petro posted something else. He was posting a lot, but let me show you another thing he posted. He also said at 4:38, we have never refused to accept migrants, and we have tried to stop migration. The stupid blockade of Venezuela is what triggered millions of migrants in the U.S. But do not demand that I accept deportees from the U.S. handcuffed and on military aircraft. We are not anyone's colony. So again, here he's saying that they will accept deportees, but they need to be treated a certain way. Gustavo Petro claims they were handcuffed and on military aircraft, and they would not accept deportees back who were treated that way. And he also said here at 4:45 p.m., President Petro of Colombia said, I will never allow Colombians to be brought in handcuffs on flights. Okay. And he says, if officials from the Foreign Ministry of Colombia allowed this, it would never be under my direction. They will be, I don't know what that means. I am a man of freedom, not of chains. And, like I said, he posted a bunch. Here is something he posted. This is a long post here. This is a whole thing. This is a whole thing. I don't know that I'm going to read this whole thing now, but this is from Gustavo Petro. It's a long reply to Trump, which was posted at, hold on, I'll show you. So see, it's the Gustavo Petro account. He has currently pinned this post on his X account. Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia. So if we go down to the translation, you'll see. Now the translation, it's translated from Spanish by Google. It says here, there might be some iffy translation because of, say, idioms that he might be using or something. So there might be a few issues with the translation here and there, which I don't know. But he says, Trump, I don't really like traveling to the U.S. It's a bit boring, but I confess that there are some commendable things. I think this is a reference to Trump announcing that there was going to be visa revocation for people in the Colombian government. Anyways, he said, I don't like your oil, Trump. You're going to wipe out the human species because of greed. He said, you consider me an inferior race, and I'm not, nor is any Colombian. He said, the president of Colombia said he is stubborn. He says, Trump, you can try to carry out a coup with your economic strength and your arrogance, like they did with Allende, but I will die in my law. I resisted torture, and I will resist you. He says, you don't like our freedom? Okay, I don't shake hands with white slavers. Overthrow me, President Trump, and the Americas and humanity will respond. He said, I'm just giving you some selected things from this post by the president of Colombia in response to Trump. He said, you will never rule us. He said, our people will know how to win the Panama Canal, which you took from us with violence. He said, your blockade does not scare me because Colombia, besides being the country of beauty, is the heart of the world. From today on, Colombia is open to the entire world with open arms. We are builders of freedom, life, and humanity. He says, I am informed that you impose a 50% tariff on the fruits of our human labor to enter the United States, and I do the same. So he's saying that he will. Now, Trump had said he would increase the tariff to 50% after a week. So here, Gustavo Petro of Colombia is saying, I'm going to match your tariffs. Anyways, it's a defiant message. Which again, Gustavo Petro has pinned this on his account. This is the pinned post on Gustavo Petro's X account. If you want to read the whole thing, I will post a link to it in the chat. So it certainly does not seem like this has been worked out yet. Now, maybe tonight or tomorrow or in a few days, they will reach some agreement. But it has not been worked out yet, as you can see. All right, I want to take some comments from you guys. Give me a moment here. By the way, quick shout out to thanks for your support. I'm going to read some comments in a second. Thanks for your support. Dewey 1851, who says, does this mean groceries could go up again? Well, if these tariffs, if the U.S. does actually impose these tariffs on Colombia and Colombia imposes the matching tariffs on the U.S., I would think that since, for example, Colombia imports a bunch of coffee and cut flowers into the U.S., maybe those prices would go up in the U.S. I'm not positive. That's what I would guess. But I'm not aware that these tariffs have actually been started to go into effect yet. It's possible. Thank you, Dewey. Thank you, Russell Bach. Russell says if they entered the country illegally, then they are criminals. Thank you to Patrick Davis, who says Trump is working overtime. Thank you, Martin Gingrich, who says pretty sure they literally committed crimes here. I'll have to try to get you more on, I don't know the identities of the particular people who are on these planes. Thank you, Mogden, who says $18 coffees incoming. Thanks, Trump. Thank you, Bilbo Baggins, for your support, who says, thank goodness he's going after our biggest trade enemy, Colombia. What an absolute joke. Thank you, Ashley B., who says, our military ride on these planes, how is it disrespectful for an illegal immigrant to ride on a plane like this? Thank you, BG, who says, with allies like Colombia, who needs enemies? Thank you, Alan, who says, my brother was arrested and turned around at the Colombian airport because he had the wrong passport. Illegal aliens are not migrants. Cocaine is about to get really expensive. That's what Alan, our viewer, said. Thank you also, again, BG. Thank you also to DGBK, who says, has the price of eggs gone down? Those plane rides costed an estimated $850,000. Now, I haven't seen that figure. I don't know how much they cost. Thank you, Andres from Argentina. Andres believes that Petro is a terrorist that deleted his own people. Now he is called a humanitarian. That's what our viewer Andres from Argentina thinks of Petro. Thank you for your support, Andres. Thank you, Wrestler Town, who thinks the president of Colombia is drunk. Thank you also, Grevin Cher, who thinks the president of Colombia is a diva. One of our viewers said, Per Kayla says, I don't buy Colombian coffee. I support by president. I wonder if these tariffs, if this isn't all worked out soon, could we see some kind of, could we see some people in the U.S. boycotting Colombian coffee? Cynthia Moon believes military plane flights cost significantly more than a commercial plane. That's what Cynthia believes. Let's see here. Mama Duke says there are plenty of other places to get coffee. Envy says, why does everyone want us to bow down to them? Again, we're waiting. There's supposed to be that's a live shot from Colombia. There is supposed to be a press conference from the Colombian Foreign Ministry, which hasn't happened yet. But that's a live shot from AFP right there. I think it's going to be in Spanish, but we're keeping an eye on that. We're keeping an eye out for the press conference. Richie Vegas says $5 bananas soon. I have to look that. Oh, hold on a second. I have to look that up about the bananas. According to ChatGPT, bananas from Colombia are the U.S. is a significant market for Colombian bananas. Google AI says Colombia exports bananas to the U.S. In 2023, it was about $200 million worth of bananas, making it the top destination for Colombia banana exports. But Google AI adds that the majority of bananas eaten in the U.S. are from other countries, not Colombia. I do not know enough about the banana economy to know whether this tariffs could significantly impact the price of bananas in the U.S. All right, hang on a moment. Again, we're waiting for the Foreign Ministry of Colombia to do a press conference. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. So I'm keeping my eye on that. Oh, I wanted to check if the White House had posted anything more. I want to show you what Marco Rubio said about this. I haven't seen a White House post today about... Is there a site? Hold on a second here. I don't see anything on their site about this today, the White House site. I'll keep an eye out, though. Marco Rubio, here's what Marco Rubio had to say about this today. Where's the Secretary of State Rubio thing? He has a Secretary of State account now. There it is, Secretary Marco Rubio. Oh, he posted a press release too. So first of all, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, said today, President Trump has made it clear that under his administration, America will no longer be lied to nor taken advantage of. It is the responsibility of each nation to take back their citizens who are illegally present in the U.S. in a serious and expeditious manner. Colombian President Petro had authorized flights and provided all needed authorizations and then canceled his authorizations when the planes were in the air. As demonstrated by today's actions, we are unwavering in our commitment to end illegal immigration and bolster America's border security. And then there's this press release. Secretary Rubio announces visa restrictions on Colombian government officials and their immediate family members. The State Department will continue to enforce and prioritize an American First agenda. Following President Petro's refusal to accept 2 repatriation flights he previously authorized, Secretary Rubio immediately ordered a suspension of visa issuance at the U.S. Embassy Bogota consular section. So, in the U.S. Embassy Bogota, they're not giving visas to anyone, I believe. Like if you were going to come to the U.S. from Colombia and needed a visa to come here, and you were planning on getting one, I believe at the moment you can't get it. That's my guess. I'm not positive how this works, but that would be my assumption. That's what it looks like. Again, Secretary Rubio immediately ordered a suspension of visa issuance at the U.S. Embassy Bogota consular section. Secretary Rubio is now authorizing travel sanctions on individuals and their families who were responsible for the interference of U.S. repatriation flight operations. Measures will continue until Colombia meets its obligations to accept the return of its own citizens. America will not back down when it comes to defending its national security interests. Let me just make sure, because I've seen some different, it's a little unclear, the visa restrictions from that report. Let me just see if I can find some clarity there. Where is... Hang on a moment. I want to try to clarify this for you. I mean, maybe they're only restricting visas for the people in the government, but it does say here, a suspension of visa issuance at the U.S. Embassy Bogota consular section. All right, give me a second. I'm going to try to check out one more thing and see if I can get you some clarity on this. Let's see here. I'm still not clear on this. On what exactly this means. Suspension of visa issuance at the U.S. Embassy Bogota consular section. All right. AFP said U.S. stops issuing visas in Colombia. I'm literally reading that on this AFP site. Ooh, maybe I can get a little more from them. Maybe from them. They'll have something on it. Let's see here. Ooh, why is it some of it in a different language? Hold on. English. Here. Oh, I'm not signed in. Okay, that's what it is. Here it is. I got it. I got it. If I can just display this for you. Switch to wide view mode. There we go. Trump slaps tariffs and sanctions as Colombia defies deportation push. President Trump on Sunday ordered sweeping tariffs and sanctions against Colombia as retaliation for its refusal to accept military deportation flights, seeking to punish one of his most defiant critics in Latin America. Colombia's left-leaning president, Gustavo Petro, did not back down, announcing his own tariffs against U.S. products as he vowed that returning migrants be treated with dignity. Trump promised to impose 25% tariffs on products from Colombia, the source of 1/5 of the coffee in the U.S. Colombia supplies 1/5 of the coffee in the United States. And Trump says he will raise tariffs to 50% in a week. It was unclear how quickly the tariffs would come as Colombia, historically one of Washington's closest allies in Latin America, enjoys a free trade agreement with the U.S. That's a little confusing there. Yes, and see here it says, Secretary of State Rubio said the U.S. Embassy in Bogota was suspending all issuance of visas. All issuance of visas. We're waiting. Well, hold on. Oh, no, it has not started yet. We're waiting for the press conference. Let me take some more comments from you guys. Waiting for the press conference from the foreign ministry in Colombia. So again, just to summarize, this started around 3:40 a.m. U.S. time this morning when the U.S. had 2 planes, military planes, that were flying to Colombia with people, Colombians on them who were being deported from the U.S. And the Colombian president announced he would not accept these planes. He would not allow the planes to land. He said that I think the phrase he used was handcuffed and on military planes. He said that he would not accept these deportees back in Colombia without them being treated in a dignified, respectful way. So he said they were in restraints and they were being flown on military planes, and that was not acceptable to him. And he didn't say he wouldn't accept them, but what he said is they need to be treated respectfully before that Colombia accepts them back. Then Trump eventually responded angrily about this, announcing these immediate 25% tariffs on Colombia's goods, and said that would go up to 50% after a week. And Petro responded angrily to Trump and said he was going to basically said he was going to match the tariffs, and that Colombia was going to impose matching tariffs on the U.S. That's not all the details, but that's a brief summary of where we're at right now. TNSP says, how can they reject their own citizens? Well, again, his view, Petro is saying, we'll let them back in. We're going to accept them, but you need to treat them respectfully. That's what Petro's view is. Nate S. says, I support Trump's response. One of our viewers said, I hear Middle Eastern coffee is all the rage now. Bill Ho says, what does the U.S. Export to Colombia? I think a lot of agricultural goods. Agricultural goods. You can see here, for example, in the AP article, AP says, Colombia is the U.S. second biggest buyer of corn and corn feed, helping to boost U.S. commodity exports from Farm Belt states like Iowa, Indiana, and Nebraska to more than $733 million last year. Also, Reuters points out that the biggest U.S. imports from Colombia, hold on, the U.S. is Colombia's largest trading partner, largely due to a 2006 free trade agreement. The biggest U.S. imports from Colombia that year were, in 2023, were crude oil, gold, coffee, and cut roses. The top U.S. exports to Colombia were gasoline and other petroleum products, commercial aircraft, corn, crude oil, and soybeans. This analyst that Reuters talked to, Sergio Guzman, said President Petro of Colombia is finding out that tweets have consequences. He's not facing a U.S. counterpart that looks at Colombia through a strategic lens as a key ally, but as a country to make an example of. Guzman added that the financial sanctions could be economically crippling. Another expert told Reuters that Colombia relies on access to the U.S. market for about a third of its exports, or about 4% of its GDP. By the way, Brazil has also complained about how its migrants are treated, but have been treated by the Trump administration. You can see here, Reuters says, Petro's comments added to the growing chorus of discontent in Latin America as Trump's week-old administration starts mobilizing for mass deportations. Brazil's foreign ministry on Saturday condemned degrading treatment of Brazilians after migrants were handcuffed on a commercial deportation flight. Upon arrival, some passengers also reported mistreatment during the flight, according to local news reports. That plane, which was carrying 88 Brazilian passengers, 16 U.S. security agents, and 8 crew members, had originally been scheduled to arrive in Belo Horizonte in the southeastern state of Minas Gerais. However, at an unscheduled stop due to technical problems in Manaus, Brazilian officials ordered the removal of the handcuffs, and President Lula designated a Brazilian Air Force flight to complete their journey, the government said in a statement on Saturday. U.S. officials did not reply to requests for comment about what happened in Brazil. Also, Reuters points out the use of U.S. military aircraft to carry out deportation flights is part of the Pentagon's response to Trump's national emergency declaration on immigration on Monday. Reuters points out this is the first time in recent memory that U.S. military aircraft were used to fly migrants out of the country, said one U.S. official. On Friday, two U.S. military aircraft carried around 80 migrants each to Guatemala. So it is not a common thing in recent history to have U.S. military aircraft flying deportees out of the country. What is this picture, by the way? Oh, this is, this picture is, hold on a second here. Where did it go? Migrants board a C-17 for a removal flight in Texas. This is 3 days ago. That's a picture from Reuters from 3 days ago of migrants boarding a military aircraft for a removal flight. I don't know what country they're from. hang on a moment here. Queen of Detroit says Trump needs it calmed down. He is doing too much. Stephen Clapper says, where is the plane with these folks now? You can treat them like royalty if you want, I think Stephen said. The comment kind of flew by. Sunny Blue thinks these are criminals on these planes for the most part. Viper Optics thinks Colombian coffee is gross. It's no big loss. By the way, thank you to Cats and Crows, who says cement, glass, so up go building costs. I don't know how much cement or glass are provided by Colombia. Again, according to Google AI, the largest exports from Colombia to the U.S. are petroleum, coffee, cut flowers, and other goods. The U.S. is Colombia's largest trading partner. Oh, so this is something. What is this here? This is kind of just a lot of data here. I don't necessarily want to confuse people with this. Ooh, maybe I can find something here. The economy. Trade and investment. 11 and 22. I have a report here. That doesn't tell me that much. All right. So we're waiting. Again, I don't know when it's supposed to. It was going to start earlier, and it's been delayed. Reuters says the start time has been delayed. We do have this live video from Bogota, Colombia, where the foreign ministry is supposed to do a live press conference about this feud going on tonight. It has not started yet. I think it's going to be in Spanish. Thank you, by the way, to Spencer Belanger for the gift memberships and for your support. That's really nice of you. Thanks also, Kieran. Thank you, PZ Papa Zulu, for the gift memberships. Thank you, Greg Andrews. Thanks, Cats and Crows. Thank you, George Lucas. George Lucas thinks we get 20% of our coffee from Colombia, but also other places will increase the price and take advantage. That's how smart business works. That's what George Lucas says. Thanks also, Shaft, for the gift memberships. Thank you, Lethal Old Fart, who says, what a fantastic first week. Thank you, Sean Caven. Sean says, Petro once said he admires Hugo Chavez. Now, I can't confirm that. That's what Sean said. Maybe when I have a second, we'll look up some more about him. Thank you, Seether, who says, Seether9, who says, buy Puerto Rican coffee, help us. Thank you, Veritas Justice, who says, lots of money, sounds like lots of money to be made for everyone. Seether9 says, this is perfect for us in Puerto Rico. We have coffee for you. Thank you, George Lucas, who thinks Trump is an A-grade failure. Also thanks to Angela Chung, who says Trump needs to tell them we do not need any of their goods. We need to start making things here, growing our jobs here in the USA again. Who agrees with me? That's what Angela Chung says. Thank you, Angela, for your support. Mayflower 2 Matters says, I'm just concerned China is going to take advantage of this. Hypocrite Watch, our viewer, writes in and says, listening to the sour grapes comments from MAGA supporters in your chat that you read, they have just cheered for a 25% increase in the price of their imported coffee, what they are paying for to Donald Trump, a tax increase because he has no tact. So that is what our viewer Hypocrite Watch writes in. We got some mixed feelings from the chat on all of this. Give me a moment here. Trying to read some more comments from you guys. I got a lot of comments here. Trying to read some of those and also give you updates. Jarrett Nash says, deport them all and then replace the labor with worker visas only. Hang on one moment here. Hang on a second. Hang on a moment. Hebrew Kevin says, we don't need their stinking coffee. Thank you, Hebrew Kevin. Thanks, Barth. Daniel Lombard said, what coffee brands use Colombian coffee? That I do not know. I cannot tell you what coffee brands use Colombian coffee. I don't drink coffee. All right. Give me a moment. I want to make sure I haven't missed any new updates here. Oh, hold on a moment. Oh, sorry. That's not a big deal. All right, so let's just talk again about what happened here today. Let's discuss this a little more about what had happened here today and where this might be going. So, Gustavo Petro is the president of Colombia. There, oops, you can't see. Gustavo Petro. Wikipedia says he is the first left-wing president in the recent history of Colombia. So the U.S. was flying 2 planes, military planes, with Colombians who were being deported to Colombia overnight. And the Colombian president announced that they were not going to let them land because they were not treating the Colombian deportees with dignity. and respect. The Trump administration has started to use military planes to transport deportees, which is something that in recent history has not been done, to use military planes to do it. Certainly, recently there have been flights. It's a regular thing for the U.S. to fly deportees out of the country back to another country, but usually they don't use military planes to do it. So here is what Gustavo Petro had to say about that. Let's just, again, just for people who just joining the stream, if you haven't seen what the president of Colombia has been saying. He posted on his X account overnight. Oops, hang on a second here. As we wait for the press conference to start, he posted, "The U.S. cannot treat Colombian migrants as criminals. I disallow the entry of North American planes with Colombian migrants into our territory. The U.S. must establish a protocol for the dignified treatment of migrants before we receive them." And then after that, he said more. He said, "A migrant is not a criminal and must be treated with the dignity that a human being deserves. That is why I made the U.S. military planes return that came with Colombian migrants. I can't make migrants stay in a country that does not want them," I think he's meant to say. I think that's what it says there. "But if that country returns them, it must be with dignity and respect for them in our country. We will receive our fellow citizens." I'm looking down here. "We will receive our fellow citizens on civilian planes, not military planes, without treating them like criminals. Colombia is respected." Okay. He also posted after that, he said, "We have never refused to accept migrants and we have tried to stop migration. The stupid blockade of Venezuela was what triggered millions of migrants in the U.S. But do not demand that I accept deportees from the U.S. handcuffed and on military aircraft. We are not anyone's colony." So he is claiming that these deportees were handcuffed, and they were certainly on military aircraft, and he did not think that was respectful, dignified treatment. President Trump responded to this situation by saying, this is the one post he's made on his True Social about this. "I was just informed that 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who is, Trump says, already very unpopular amongst his people. Petro's denial of these flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. So I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. Emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into Colombia from the United States. Coming into the United States from Colombia. 25% tariff on all goods coming to the United States from Colombia. In 1 week, the 25% tariffs will be raised to 50%. A travel ban and immediate visa revocations on the Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters. Visa sanctions on all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government. enhanced customs and border protection inspections of all Colombian nationals and cargo on national security grounds. IEEPA, Treasury, banking, and financial sanctions to be fully imposed. These measures are just the beginning. We will not allow the Colombian government to violate its legal obligations with regard to the acceptance and return of the criminals they forced into the United States. He claims the Colombian government forced these people to go to the United States. That's what he claims. And then Gustavo Petro, in response to that, said, for example, among other things, where is it here? I'm missing one of his posts. I have one of his posts. I'm missing the one that I showed you a little earlier about the tariffs. Let's see here. Hang on. There's that one. Yes, this one right here. Petro said, it says he ordered. I believe this is meant to say like I ordered. That's what would make sense. I ordered the foreign trade minister to raise tariffs on imports from the U.S. by 25%. The foreign ministry in Colombia should help direct our exports to the whole world other than the U.S. Our exports should be expanded. I invite all Colombian foreign communities to be marketers of our products. American products whose price will rise within Colombia must be replaced by national production, and the government will help in this regard. And he also posted, and I'm not going to read this whole thing, a whole long response to Trump, which is currently pinned. If you go to Gustavo Petro's account on X, the pinned response at the top is his long response to Trump, where among the things he says in it are things like, you know, after Trump said he's imposing visa restrictions, visa and travel restrictions on Colombian government officials. So the first thing he says is, I don't really like traveling to the U.S. He says it's a bit boring. He adds some more about that. He says, Trump, I don't like your oil, Trump. You're going to wipe out the human species because of greed. He said that Trump considers me, it's difficult. You consider me an inferior race, and I'm not, nor is any Colombian. Trump says you can try, Gustavo Petro of Colombia, President Petro says to Trump, you can try to carry out a coup with your economic strength and your arrogance, like they did with Allende. He says, you will kill me, but I will survive in my people. You don't like our freedom, okay? I don't shake hands with white slavers. Overthrow me, President Trump, and the Americas and humanity will respond. Just as some of the things he's saying here. You will never rule us. I am informed that you impose a 50% tariff on the fruits of our human labor to enter the United States, and I do the same. So Trump said the 50% tariff would start in a week after the 25% tariff the first week. Anyways, that's the defiant response of Gustavo Petro to Trump. I'll post a link to it in the chat so you can read the whole thing if you want. But it's a whole thing. Ben C. thinks Gustavo seems loco. The Incognito says he is mad. Amy Clark thinks that guy is off his rocker. Jack N. 1989 says tax war not good. Drop C McFumble says America will have no allies left within 4 years. Virtual Voyager says that's a response of a little blank. By the way, a quick thank you to Lethal Old Fart for your support, who thinks that Petro is playing it up to the Democrats and left-wing media here in the U.S. Thank you, Turdoff, who says tariffs are a national tax on Americans, thus raising prices for Americans. Why doesn't MAGA understand this? To think people blame Biden for raised prices, haha, Don's America will be much worse. Wow. That's our viewer turned off. Thank you, Alan Will 2, for your support. It's very kind of you. Alan says many of the Latino migrants do not have an education. They can't read or write. They don't know how to sign their name. That is what Alan Will 2's view is. Thank you, Chris H., who says Colombia's president only needs to say thank you for returning them and we are sorry. Kieran thinks construction costs will triple. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Mogden, who says all human beings deserve dignity and respect. Sorry if that's a hot take. Thank you also, Jesus UCSB. Thank you, Walter Beasley, who says he is right about Venezuela. I think the general idea of what he was saying about Venezuela was something like the U.S. economic sanctions on Venezuela were causing more Venezuelans to try to go to the U.S. I think that's basically what he was saying there. Thank you, Sean Findlay, who says they became criminals when they entered illegally. Thank you again, Mogden. Thank you, Fode Sanko, who gave a list of the top coffee suppliers to the U.S. 20% of U.S. coffee is from Colombia. According to Google AI, the top coffee suppliers to the U.S. include Brazil, Colombia, and Costa Rica. Oh, now, Fode said there are companies that he talked about Starbucks and Keurig and Nestle. I don't know about that. That's a whole interesting question about the companies that use Colombian coffee. That I don't know. Thank you, Fode Sanko. Thank you also, Barth and John Posey and BG, Spencer Belanger, PZ Papa Zulu, who says, we gave Colombia $740 million last year in aid. Thank you, Liam Ashton, our member. KS. Patrick Davis mentioned Grandma Pizza. He says, as long as Trump doesn't put tariffs on Grandma Pizza. Thank you, Andy Scribbler. Yes, didn't Petro say he would send his own presidential plane to transport the deportees? Yes, that was earlier today. But then he came out with his defiant response to Trump, saying that there's going to be tariffs. So it's a little unclear what's going on. Because earlier today, the Colombian government did say that they would be willing to send the presidential plane to pick up deportees. Thank you, Andy. Still no press conference yet. There's supposed to be a press conference. A little background here on this, a little more background here. There's supposed to be a press conference in Colombia. This is from the AFP article about this. Trump, who during his campaign said that migrants were poisoning the blood of the U.S., took office with promises to round up and swiftly deport undocumented people. While some countries, including Guatemala, have accepted military planes making deportation flights from the U.S., Trump has faced resistance from Petro in Colombia, elected in 2022 as the first left-wing leader of Latin America's fourth largest economy. Petro said the U.S. cannot treat Colombian migrants as criminals. Petro's Colombian critics reacted furiously to what they saw as his reckless rumble with Trump. Former right-wing President Ivan Duque accused Petro of an act of treasonous irresponsibility for refusing what he called Colombia's moral duty to take back illegal migrants, and warned U.S. sanctions would take an enormous toll. By the way, President Petro of Colombia also urged what he said were the more than 15,600 undocumented Americans living in his country to regularize their situation while ruling out raids to arrest and deport them. Trump's deportation threats have put him on a potential collision course with governments in Latin America, says AFP. The original home of most of the U.S.'s estimated 11 million undocumented migrants. Brazil, which is also ruled by a left-wing president, voiced outrage over treatment by the Trump administration of dozens of Brazilian migrants deported back to their country on Friday. Those Brazilian migrants were handcuffed on the flight in what Brazil called a flagrant disregard for their basic rights. One of the migrants, Edgar da Silva Moura, a 31-year-old computer technician, one of the migrants, Brazilian migrants who was on that flight, said, "On the plane, they didn't give us water. We were tied hands and feet. They wouldn't even let us go to the bathroom. It was very hot. Some people fainted." That's what one of the migrants claimed. The president of Honduras called for an urgent meeting of leaders from the community of Latin American and Caribbean states to take place Thursday to discuss migration following the latest U.S. moves. So, where is this all going? And where's it going specifically with Colombia? I don't know. Are we going to actually see these tariffs implemented? I do not know. Let's see if I get some more updates here. Hold on. Hang on a moment here. Hasselhoff thinks nothing will get solved. Trump retaliates against Colombia after it refuses deportation flights. That's from the Washington Post. Truth Addiction TV thinks they just don't want their criminals back. Lord Cog says, where is this going? This is only 6 days in. Ronan thinks Petro will apologize very soon. Thank you, Martin Gingrich, who says, curious if the deportees committed other crimes. That I do not know. Thank you, Teacher Jennifer C. Thank you, PZ Papa Zulu. We are still waiting for a live press conference from the Colombian Foreign Ministry, which has not happened yet. Hoping to bring that to you soon. Let's see here. Oh, I have a statement here from 3 hours ago. I have a couple statements from the Colombian Foreign Minister, Laura Sarabia, who is the Colombian Foreign Minister. So let me show you what she had to say from several hours ago. I believe she is. Is she? One of the articles said she was the foreign minister. Maybe she's not. The Washington Post article says Laura Sarabia, who was recently named Colombia's foreign minister. Let me double check this. Yes, Bloomberg, 5 days ago, Bloomberg said President Petro to name ally Laura Sarabia as Colombia Foreign Affairs Chief. Yes. So maybe she's not officially her. She's the incoming foreign minister. She's the incoming foreign minister. This is what the incoming foreign minister had to say. Maybe she hasn't been sworn in yet. 3 hours ago, the incoming foreign minister, Laura Sarabia, said, "We call for calm. Diplomatic channels and dialogue are the way to ensure the dignified treatment of all Colombians. We are in continuous contact with the United States government so that mutual respect and serenity continues to guide our relations." So she seems there about 3 hours ago to be trying to calm the tensions down. She doesn't mention tariffs. She says, diplomatic channels and dialogue are the way to ensure the dignified treatment of all Colombians. So that's what she posted. She also said, the national government reaffirms its commitment to a return worthy of our nationals, our citizens. 1, guarantee respectful and human treatment for them. 2, ensure adequate conditions with civil and dignified transport. 3, open to dialogue with the U.S. to verify protocols and strengthen them for the dignity of all Colombians. So that's the incoming foreign minister. Icy Bird says we don't really care about dignified anymore. Jay Noswich says we get oil from Colombia, also oil prices may go up. Yes, I forgot to mention this. Speaker Johnson, one of our viewers said, also had a statement about this. Vincent Van Goght mentioned that. I was going to show you that. Here's what Speaker Johnson had to say. Colombia and all nations should be on notice. Congress is fully prepared to pass sanctions and other measures against those that do not fully cooperate or follow through on requirements to accept their citizens who are illegally in the United States. President Trump is putting America first, just like he said he would, and Congress will implement policies that reinforce his agenda. Thank you, David L. David L, I believe, is in Ireland. Thank you, David L. Thank you also, Leon Yoder. Who says, wanna guess who wins this economic fight? He says the U.S. has a much bigger economy than Colombia does. Thank you also, 9Seether9. That's very nice of you. 9Seether9 says, contractors use illegal immigrants to increase their profit, not to decrease your cost to build. If you think hiring illegal immigrants helps the economy or anything else for the people, you're dead wrong, says 9Seether9. Thank you, Kresman, our new member. Thank you, Tim Bowman, who says, don't expect this delay is due to everything going according to plan in negotiations with the U.S. LOL. Still no press conference yet. We're waiting for a live press conference that is supposed to happen. It has been delayed tonight, but a live press conference, I think in Spanish, from the... You never know, though. Maybe they'll have some English in it, from the Colombian Foreign Ministry. I mean, I would assume that the Colombian Foreign Ministry knows people in the U.S. will be watching it. So maybe they'll have some sort of English in the press conference. Hang on a second here. I want to make sure I'm not missing any updates. The Wall Street Journal says oil futures are lower after Trump calls for tariffs on Colombia. Fundamentals are unlikely to change in the short term, research analysts say in a commentary. Let me show you a couple other things here. Hold on. Just trying to make sure I'm not. I don't think Trump has posted again. I got to check his Truth Social. Trump has not posted an update yet. Oh, hold on. Trump posted something on Truth Social. We have a post from Trump on Truth Social. Well, he reposted somebody, but I'll show you what he posted in his repost. He retruthed. I guess you call it a retruth when it's on Truth Social. Here is Trump's latest retruth. He retruthed a truth posted by Philippe Lemoyne, who said, I think Trump's greatest superpower might be his absolutely insane ability to make everyone he has a fight with lose their mind. The Colombian president was just the latest person to fall victim to that, but he wasn't the first and he won't be the last. That is Trump's retruth. He retruthed that on Truth Social. Okay, so that's that. I don't believe Petro has posted the last hour or so. Petro actually reposted AOC. So you can see here, this is on X, but President Petro of Colombia reposted Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat congresswoman in the U.S. She said to punish coffee, Trump is about to make every American pay even more for, to punish Colombia, punish in quotes, she said, Trump is about to make every American pay even more for coffee. Remember, we pay the tariffs, not Colombia. Trump is all about making inflation worse for working class Americans, not better. He's lining the pockets of himself and the billionaire class. So again, Petro, the president of Colombia, reposted this on his X account. We have a social media. We have a feud that's being, and a lot of it's being carried out on social media by the two presidents. By the way, here is something from the USDA about coffee imports. USDA. This is from 2023, I think. It says, the U.S. is the world's second leading importer of coffee. In 2023, about 80% of U.S. unroasted coffee imports came from Latin America, principally from Brazil, 35%, and Colombia, 27%. Still waiting for the press conference in Bogota, Colombia. Jarrett Nash says, why are we not ending all humanitarian aid to Colombia? Murph says, come to the U.S. or Canada legally and you won't have these issues. All right, as we wait for this press conference, let me just show you. We haven't even looked at this article yet. See if there's anything new in here. By the way, thank you to Will C. for your support, who says, I wonder if we'll get a 2-minute warning for the conference. Yes. The conference was supposed to be earlier. Reuters said that the time got delayed, but it's still supposed to be happening. Reuters and AFP are saying it's still happening. We'll see. Thank you, George Lucas, for the gift memberships. Thanks also to Kresman, our new member. Shout out to our moderators, by the way. We have moderating right now. We have moderating here. We have a bunch of moderators. Queenful and Sarah55 are over there on YouTube. And Bethski, thank you. And Ruth Krafasi, thank you so much. Martin Gingrich is wondering if Javier Milei commented on this, president of Argentina. I don't know. I have to look that up. I'll have to look it up and see. If I'm pronouncing his name right, I'm sorry if I'm not. Also, thanks to Linda Belk and Larry who moderate on X. Thank you also to, hang on a moment here. Thank you to our Twitch moderators, including Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, McBritches, Sarah, and Surly Dev. Thank you. Also, thanks on Twitch to Daredevil for your support. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Quorum and Sir Steve for subscribing and on Twitch. Sorry, I'm late on my thank yous on Twitch. Thanks also Barn Isle 42 Meh for subscribing on Twitch. And also, thanks to our Facebook moderators as well. I really appreciate it. Margaret Riley, Kay Larry Body, all of our other moderators. Thank you. Oopsie. Hang on a moment. I just checked the X account. What is it here? Hold on. Javier Milei has reposted a bunch of stuff. I'll just give you a sample. I don't want to go through his whole account. But he's been reposting. He reposted a few things about this today. He is the president of Argentina. I think he was at Trump's inauguration. I believe I might be wrong about that though. Was he at the inauguration? I might be wrong about that. Or was he was at some event? There was some event around the time of the inauguration I saw him at in the US that I believe was a Trump event, but I can't remember what it was. But Javier Milei, just to show you an example of one thing he reposted today, was this. Now I got to find it again. Here it is. So you can say Javier Milei reposted this, which is from somebody named Pablo Wendy, who said Petro quickly discovered that he doesn't mess around with Trump and makes life difficult for Colombians. Okay. Let me show you. We haven't even looked at this yet. Let's look at this for a second. Trump retaliates against Colombia after it refuses deportation flights. So a little summary from the Washington Post. President Trump on Sunday announced strict tariffs and visa restrictions on Colombia after the South American nation's president, Gustavo Petro, said his country will not accept deportation flights from the U.S. unless the Trump administration ensures that repatriated Colombian migrants are treated with the dignity that a human being deserves. Again, Petro was upset that they were being flown on military planes, and also he said they were handcuffed. In a series of posts on X today, Petro said the U.S. cannot treat Colombian migrants like criminals. Trump retaliated by announcing tariffs of 25% immediately on Colombian goods coming to the U.S., rising to 50% in a week on all Colombian goods coming to the U.S., after he said 2 U.S. flights were turned away on military planes. He also issued a travel ban and said the U.S. would immediately revoke the visas of Colombian government officials, their allies, and supporters. He said these measures are just the beginning on Truth Social. He said the actions were warranted because Colombia was violating its legal obligations and was harming the national security of the United States. Petro's refusal to accept the deportation flights could complicate Trump's promises of mass deportations in the early days of his administration. Other Latin American leaders have also raised questions over the U.S. treatment of deported migrants, like Brazil, for example. The Washington Post says Brazil's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is requesting an explanation from the U.S. government over the, quote, degrading treatment that Brazilian deportees were subject to on a U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement repatriation flight on Friday. Only Colombia, however, has said it will not accept deportation flights unless migrant conditions improve. Laura Sarabia, who was recently named Colombia's foreign minister, said the government reaffirms its commitment to the dignified return of its nationals, guaranteeing respectful and humane treatment and adequate conditions. The Petro government, she said, is open to dialogue with the U.S. to verify and strengthen protocols. And again, shortly after Trump posted about the retaliation actions like the tariffs, the Colombian government issued a statement offering to use the presidential plane to fly its citizens deported from the U.S., although it did not specify how or where it would receive the deportees. And also, after that offer was made, the Colombian president then posted his angry response to Trump, saying that there would be sanctions on the U.S. Expert Sergio Guzman said the tariffs would deal a serious blow to the Colombian economy. It would probably devastate Colombia's flour industry, he said, a key export to the U.S. just before the crucial Valentine's Day season. Wow. While Petro has long criticized the U.S., including its role in the war on drugs, he walked a careful line with the Biden administration. This expert, Guzman, said, despite Colombia's role as a cornerstone partner for the U.S. and South America, Trump appears to see Petro as an irreverent president who he wants to make an example of. A couple of the articles have suggested that Trump wants to make an example of them. Guzman said, he chose the wrong moment to face up Trump. He's going to drag us into a personal conflict with President Trump with a significant burden on all of us. Okay. The U.S. is Colombia's most important trading partner and security ally. Remittances to Colombia, where people, I guess, from Colombia are in the U.S. and they send money back to Colombia, remittances from Colombia make up an estimated 3.4% of Colombia's economy, more than coffee, a key Colombian export. Most of those remittances come from the United States. Okay, so total remittances, which again, I believe is people from Colombia, outside of Colombia, who send money back to Colombia. Remittances to Colombia make up an estimated 3.4% of Colombia's economy, more than coffee. Most of those remittances come from the United States. Interesting. Colombia is one of the United States' most important allies in South America on both an economic and national security level. The U.S. has sent about $14 billion in funding to Colombia since 2000, and at least 60% of it for the military and police. It is one of the top recipients of U.S. foreign assistance since the 2000 launch of Plan Colombia, a counter-narcotics and security initiative that has often had bipartisan support in the U.S. Another expert that the Washington Post talked to, Juan Cruz, said the latest actions could harm Colombia more than the U.S. He said, I don't see options for the Colombians. There's no other way but to back down. If this is President Trump's initial incursion, he can't back down because what message does that send to the others? Cruz said. President Trump means what he says and is going to move forward on this. The Colombians have to find a way to make this work. And Colombia has been receiving deportation flights from the U.S. for many years under previous administrations. During the Obama administration, Colombia received up to 7 flights a day. Also, under the Biden administration, Colombia received an average of about 3 flights a week from the U.S. of deportees. Okay. Anyways, so we're still waiting right now for, this press conference, which has been delayed. It's still supposed to happen, as far as I know, in Colombia. Has the press conference been delayed? Because maybe they're talking to the U.S. right now. Maybe there'll be some settlement announced tonight to this right now. I do not know. Mike M. thinks Trump has bitten off more than he can chew. Interactive has said something irrelevant. Let's see here. Mason D said, this isn't business as usual. The Randy Bobandy says, they are finding out this was expected. Let's see here. Scoomdog says, perhaps Colombia is reconsidering their position. Veggies No Way says, Colombia will be made an example of. Thank you, Stephanie W., who says, this isn't difficult. Colombia's president doesn't want his own citizens back. Now, to be clear, he said he will take them back. They just have to be treated in a dignified and respectful way. Stephanie W. says, if he was concerned for their safety, he would allow any and all planes to land as soon as possible. That's what Stephanie W. says. Thank you, Stephanie W. Thank you also, Jen, for your support. Thank you. Jen says, we are in a trade war with BRICS. BRICS. Tariffs are pushing countries to join. Colombia can simply join. That's what Jen says. It sounds like Jen is worried about maybe the U.S. pushing Colombia to start having better relations with other countries besides the U.S., maybe U.S. competitors. Thank you also Maria Daniel, who says, what do they expect? Packing them Happy Meals? By the way, I mentioned this before, this Reuters article. If you didn't see it, here's a little quick video from Reuters that goes with this article that summarizes the situation. A little quick summary here.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday he would impose sweeping retaliatory measures on Colombia, including tariffs, sanctions, and travel bans. The move comes after the South American country turned away 2 U.S. military aircrafts, with migrants being deported as part of the new U.S. administration's immigration crackdown. Trump's swift action appeared aimed at making an example of Colombia, to dissuade other countries from defying him on deportation flights. He said Colombian President Gustavo Petro's refusal jeopardized U.S. national security, and has directed his administration to take retaliatory measures. That includes imposing emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States, which will go up to 50% in 1 week, as well as a travel ban and visa revocations on Colombian government officials and its allies. Petro condemned the practice, suggesting it treated migrants like criminals. And in response, Colombia threatened a 50% tariff on U.S. goods. According to the State Department, the United States is Colombia's largest trade and investment partner, and Colombia is also the U.S.'s third largest trade partner in Latin America. Mexico also refused a request last week to let a U.S. military aircraft land with migrants. Trump did not take similar action against Mexico, the U.S.'s largest trade partner, but has said he was thinking of imposing 25% duties on imports from Canada and Mexico on February 1st.
That was from Reuters. I think the Washington Post had something about that Mexico thing. The Washington Post in their article said, the White House press secretary claimed on Thursday Mexico accepted a record 4 deportation flights in 1 day, while NBC News reported Friday that Mexico had refused to accept a U.S. military jet carrying deportees a day earlier. The Mexican Foreign Ministry denied it was blocking the returns of its citizens. The Mexican Foreign Ministry said Mexico has a good relationship with the government of the U.S., and we cooperate with respect for each country's sovereignty on a wide range of issues. As far as repatriations go, we always accept the arrival of Mexicans in our land with open arms. A senior Mexican official who spoke on the condition of anonymity said the problem with that flight involved insufficient paperwork. He said foreign military flights needed special permission from the Defense Ministry and the Mexican Senate to land. The case is different with charter planes. For years, Mexico has routinely accepted such deportation flights. Mexico's army is extremely cautious about the presence of foreign military on its soil. The country suffered a series of invasions and land disputes with the U.S. in the 19th century and early 20th centuries. Let's see here. Again, right now, I'll show you, it says coming up. Check this out. It's supposed to happen. I'm not making this up. See what AFP says? Coming up, Bogota. Foreign Ministry statement after Trump-Colombia waged tariff war amid U.S. immigration row. It's supposed to be coming up. But it's been delayed for like hours now. Ryan McR says the U.S. should have dropped them off anyways. Ronan says, I support the commander-in-chief 100%, 1,000%. Jack says remittances are 3% of Colombia's economy. USA for the win. Thank you, Jack. April Coco says, I am stocked up on Dunkin' coffee. HMN says this would never happen if Biden were president. Floyd Vivino says, I support Trump 0%. Let's see here. So I've shown you some. Let me show you a couple things here. So remember, I showed you how the speaker, House Speaker Mike Johnson, posted in support of Trump on this. Again, he said, let me show you a couple of different American politicians, their take on it. Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, said Colombia and all nations should be on notice. Congress is fully prepared to pass sanctions and other measures against those that do not fully cooperate or follow through on requirements to accept their citizens who are illegally in the United States. President Trump is putting America first, just like he said he would, and Congress will implement policies that reinforce his agenda. So that's Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson. Whereas here is a post from Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona. Ruben Gallego of Arizona said, "This is a dumb trade war that the Trump administration started. This could have been resolved with a phone call. Trump picked a fight with an ally to look strong. FYI, get your orders in now for roses. We import a majority of roses from Colombia." So a couple different views of this from politicians from different parties. He says, get your orders in now for roses. Oh, did the Colombian president, did Petro tweet again? Hold on. No, Petro hasn't tweeted. I've shown Petro's tweets. He didn't post a new tweet, Petro. I just checked his feed. I'll let you know if he posts something new. We've already read his big response a couple times. Let's see here. Thank you, Dizzy Dale, for your support. I appreciate Dizzy Dale. Dizzy Dale says, can Trump focus on stuff that matters like grocery prices being through the roof and gas being sky high? One of our viewers, Stefanos, says, roses are already overpriced. Just stop buying them. Okay, so I have a question for you. I'm going to ask a poll question. My poll question is, so these tariffs, Trump has said he's putting 25% tariffs on all goods coming in from Colombia because of this, and it's going to go up to 50% next week. The Colombian president said he is responding with similar tariffs, but I don't believe that these tariffs have been officially implemented yet. So I'm sure there's processes that need to be gone through. So I have not seen reported that the tariffs have actually started taking effect. So my poll question to you is, will the U.S. and Colombia tariffs take effect? Yes or no? Now, a no answer would be something like you think they're going to work this out. There's not going to be any tariffs. They'll have an announcement tonight or tomorrow, and they'll say we reached an agreement. But I don't know that they're going to. I'm asking you. But that's the nature of the question. When I say, will the U.S. and Colombia tariffs take effect, that's what I mean. Is this going to go on long enough that we actually see those tariffs take effect? Or is it just, the president's making these threats on social media, which won't actually be carried out because the countries come to some agreement? So we'll see. I'm going to ask you guys in the chat right now. I just posted the question over there on YouTube. And I am posting it on Twitch right now. And I'll even post it on Facebook. And we'll see what you guys have to say about this. And I don't know, this press conference we were supposed to see from Colombia tonight, it's been delayed for several hours now. Maybe they're talking to the U.S. government. I do not know. Maybe there's negotiations right now. Maybe Trump talked to or is talking to the President Petro tonight. Hang on a moment here. I am about to post the poll on Facebook, and then I will show you your response, what you have said. Okay, so I asked you guys, I said, will these tariffs actually take effect? And a no answer to me is something like, no, they're not going to take effect. They'll work it out really soon, and these tariffs will never happen. So I asked you guys, look at the vote on YouTube right now. It is 50-50 over there on YouTube, 50-50. How about Twitch? Over on Twitch, the vote right now as to whether these tariffs will actually take effect. It's also quite close over there. 54-46. Oh, 59-41. Still close, though. And give me 1 second. I'm just going to check on... It's 50-50 on Facebook right now. Huh. John thinks it is just posturing. I mean, from what I've seen in the articles and seen experts say, this would have quite a big impact on the economy in Colombia. But, I mean, I'm guessing it might have significant impact on certain segments of the U.S. economy. Prices, for example, for cut flowers and coffee, which are important U.S. imports from Colombia. Prison Yard Gossip says Colombia threw up its white flag in ascending plane. Thank you, Prison Yard Gossip. Again, just to repeat, soon after Trump's post today talking about the tariffs, the Colombian government said they were willing to send their presidential plane to pick up migrants, but they did not offer details. And after that, then the president of Colombia posted a couple of responses to Trump, which said that Colombia is going to start imposing tariffs on the U.S. So Colombia did not, we don't have good evidence right now that Colombia has said, oh, we're fine, we'll just pick them up, the whole thing's over. The offer to send their presidential plane came before the Colombian president said that he was going to impose tariffs on the U.S. But maybe the situation will work itself out with some form of that being the solution. All right, I can see on Twitch, the numbers are up to 64% on Twitch saying the tariffs will take effect, and it's 53% on YouTube. Is that like sending Air Force One? I guess it would be like sending Air Force One. Diane Funstein says, aren't roses in big demand pretty soon for a certain holiday? Is that what is being implied there? Well, yes. I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up. Thank you, Diane Funstein. Also, again, Prison Yard Gossip. Thank you, Mach 11, our new member. Thank you, ZB. ZB, who says, let's boycott roses. Thank you, ZB. All right, I'm going to end the poll. So 54% on YouTube said that the tariffs would take effect. 64% over there on Twitch, and it was 50-50 on Facebook. And we're still waiting. What's going on with this press conference? What's going on with this, guys? I don't know what to tell you. There's supposed to be a foreign ministry statement from Colombia. It hasn't happened yet. It keeps getting delayed. Chris White says, art of the deal. Maybe this will get resolved tonight. Right Dub thinks there's not going to be a statement tonight. Thank you to Jack for your support. Jack says, amazing, amusing. Most detractors can't even spell Colombia. Thank you, Sergey. Sergey thinks the economic impact to the U.S. will be great. People thought Trump's 25% tariff threats on allies like Canada were him trolling. This shows the opposite. Trump has talked about soon putting a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada. We'll see if that happens soon. Just checking for a couple of different things here. Give me a moment as we try to get you more updates. Where is this going? Are we going to see a trade war between the U.S. and Colombia? Let's see here. The New York Times also says that Trump is making an example out of Colombia. We've seen that in several articles saying that Trump is making an example of them for other countries to look at. I'm just peeking at something here. Interestingly, the New York Times says that Colombia is not one of the biggest countries in terms of with the most unauthorized immigrant populations in the U.S. The New York Times says the countries with the most unauthorized immigrants in the U.S. include Mexico, El Salvador, India, Guatemala, and Honduras. And they say that Mexico has about 4 million unauthorized immigrants in the U.S., while Colombia has about 190,000. The New York Times also says critics of the president of Colombia, President Petro, say he sometimes acts rashly and doesn't listen to advisors. And has been critical of the amount of power the U.S. holds in the world. And hang on a moment here. By the way, something else interesting. The Wall Street Journal points out that if Trump's proposed tariffs on Colombia go into effect, that would be Trump's first use of tariffs since he was inaugurated. He says he's going to impose tariffs on Mexico and Canada in China, for example. But those have not been imposed yet. And interestingly, the Wall Street Journal said that an administration official said to them that the formal orders for the Trump tariffs on Colombia were being drafted, and Trump would likely sign them later in the day. And the Wall Street Journal says that the U.S. and Colombia are negotiating on whether the tariffs can be avoided. Okay? So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that there are negotiations between the U.S. and Colombia to try to reach some agreement to not have these, that would avoid having these tariffs go on. I would assume avoid having the Colombia tariffs on the U.S. Come into place as well. Justin Quarters says, I agree with Trump. I never thought I would say that. By the way, what time is it in Bogota right now? Bogota time is 10:06 p.m. So how late will they release a statement in Bogota? Rock K9, our viewer, thinks Colombia is in a frenzy trying to avoid this mess they put themselves in. Excuse me. Plant to Win says, guess Juan Valdez is about to go broke. One of our viewers said, what does the U.S. supply to Colombia? We talked about that before. Agricultural products is a big one. Corn, for example. Oh, Reuters updated their article. Colombia's top imports from the U.S. in 2023 were gasoline, civilian aircraft, corn, naphthas. Is that a chemical, naphthas? And soybean solids. Naphthas are flammable petroleum-based liquids that are used as solvents and to make gasoline, jet fuel, and other chemicals, says Google AI. Colombia's top exports to the U.S. in 2023 were heavy crude oil, gold, coffee, cut roses, aluminum windows, and diesel fuel. The top U.S. exports to Colombia were gasoline, civilian aircraft, corn, naphthas, and soybean solids. This expert said that Colombia relies on access to the U.S. market for about a third of its exports, or about 4% of its GDP. The U.S. is Colombia's largest trading partner. See, C2C says, so they depend on the U.S. I mean, certainly the U.S. is a very important economic partner for them. Thanks to Big Dog Gaming and Who Shot JR for your support, and Douthis for your support on Twitch. So, by the way, thanks to MW. MW says cheaper coffee for the rest of the world. You're saying because Colombia would send more coffee to the rest of the world? Thank you, Rachel Dolly Hug. And Catania Nana, our member. Again, hoping to have some update for you tonight. As I mentioned several times, there is supposed to be a statement coming out from the Foreign Ministry of Colombia. It's now been delayed several hours. I do wonder if that means there's some big negotiation going on. You'd think if there was like no negotiation going on, that they would just release the statement. But maybe they're close to an agreement. So I'd like to give it a little while. Wildwood thinks we'll still be waiting at 1 a.m. Well, I'm not going to stay on till 1 a.m. I'll tell you that. I will tell you that. Hold on a second here. See if I can find any updates. There's that whole other question of whether we'll have tariffs on Mexico and Canada soon. Here's an article from a couple days ago. The World Trade Organization chief said on Thursday that any tit-for-tat trade wars prompted by U.S. President Trump's tariff threats would have catastrophic consequences for global growth, urging states to refrain from retaliation. The WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a former Nigerian finance minister, I guess you see her right there, she said, if we have tit-for-tat retaliation, whether it's 25% tariff or 60%, and we go to where we were in the 1930s, we're going to see double-digit global GDP losses. That's catastrophic. Everyone will pay, she said at the World Economic Forum. She was drawing a parallel between with the period between the two world wars when countries adopted trade restrictions in response to a U.S. Tariff Act in 1930. She said, we've seen this movie, as I said, elsewhere in the 1930s with the Smoot-Hawley Act. It made it worse, she said. She said she was encouraged by Trump's decision to hold off on immediately imposing tariffs on imports from countries like Canada and Mexico, opting instead to mandate investigations into trade practices. As I mentioned, if these tariffs against Colombia go into effect that Trump said he was going to impose, that would be his first use of tariffs in his second term. Still have no update out of Colombia tonight, which we're supposed to get. Let me check my messages from people as well. Our viewer Lisa Vogt found an article from The Guardian from back in 2023. And the headline of the article in 2023 was Colombia cancels U.S. deportation flights, blasting cruel mistreatment of migrants. In that article, it talked about the head of Colombia's migration agency complaining about migrants being having cuffs on their hands and feet. Anyways, it's interesting. That's something that happened back in 2023. Thank you, by the way, way too much info, who says they're going to have to change the District of Columbia to the District of America. Now, it is spelled different, of course, the Columbia, District of Columbia, and the Country of Columbia. You never know with Trump, though. Thank you, Scruff Herder, who says they refused military transport of deportee civilian is fine. Yes, the president of Colombia said he objected to the way they were being treated, including being on military flights and being handcuffed, he said. Scruff Herder says the outrage from people over Trump getting some egg on his face is ridiculous. Chill. Sergey thinks, thank you, Sergey. Sergey thinks Colombian tariffs on U.S. corn may have impact on U.S. farmers. Corn is one of the top U.S. exports to Colombia. Thank you also, Kieran and MW. Oh, is there a statement from the White House? Jen mentioned there might be a statement from the White House. Hang on a moment. Let me check this. Now, I haven't seen that yet. Hold on. Where was this posted? Where was this posted? Did Carolyn Levitt maybe post it? Hold on. We have a new statement from the White House. Bill Malugin, Jen mentioned Bill Malugin just posted this. I'm seeing a report. I'm seeing a report about White House says Colombia has agreed to Trump's terms. That's what AFP is saying now. Hang on a moment. Let me get the actual statement. This is just coming out now. I'm seeing multiple reports of this. AFP says White House says Colombia has agreed to Trump's terms on migrant. Oh, BNO has it too. Did I get the email? I haven't gotten this. Why haven't I gotten it yet? BNO News has it from the president. Hold on. I didn't check Karen Levitt. I assume I'll get it soon. I'm going to read it to you, though. I have it right here via BNO News. Hang on a moment. So, BNO News posted this from the White House press secretary. She said the government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft without limitation or delay. Based on this agreement, the fully drafted IEEPA tariffs and sanctions will be held in reserve, so not imposed and not signed unless Colombia fails to honor this agreement. Wow. Breaking news. Breaking news, guys. Let's finish the press release. The visa sanctions issued by the State Department and enhanced inspections from Customs and Border Protection will remain in effect until the first plane load of Colombian deportees is successfully returned. Today's events make clear to the world that America is respected again. Maybe we'll get a comment. We'll have to see if this is confirmed by the other side. President Trump will continue to fiercely protect our nation's sovereignty, and he expects all other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the U.S. So the press secretary of the White House is claiming that Colombia has basically accepted the U.S. demands on this. Wow. All right, hang on one second here. Devil Dog says, I knew they would cave. Way too much info says, so we're friends again? Launcher B says, Trump bullies. You call that respect? Robin T says, our new bully in chief. Super Stoner says, there's a new sheriff in town. Oh, I just got it. Sorry. I got it. Oh, hold on a second. I actually have it on the White House stationery now, guys. I have it on White House letterhead for you. Let me pull this up here. Breaking news. Big breaking news. An agreement appears to have been reached according to the White House press secretary. Here is the statement on official White House letterhead. Oh, we don't see. There it is, right there. Statement from the press secretary. I'm going to read it again. I'm going to change the headline. Headline's going to say, White House says Colombia agrees to Trump demands. All right, so let's read this one more time. This is from the White House. It just came out right now. Statement from the press secretary. Our viewer, Deborah Christian Warrior, thinks Petro caved and the USA is winning. The government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the U.S., including on U.S. military aircraft, without limitation or delay. Based on this agreement, the fully drafted tariffs and sanctions will be held in reserve and not signed unless Colombia fails to honor this agreement. The visa sanctions issued by the State Department and enhanced inspections from Customs and Border Protection will remain in effect until the first plane load of Colombian deportees is successfully returned. Today's events make clear to the world that America is respected again. President Trump will continue to fiercely protect our nation's sovereignty, and he expects all other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the U.S. I wonder what the Colombia announcement will be about this. Maybe Colombia will say something like, the U.S. has promised to treat the deportees with respect. By the way, thank you so much, KC Steve. KC Steve, that's very kind of you. Congrats on your team. KC Steve, thank you Very nice of you. Also, thanks to Grevin Share for your support. Grevin says, I should have had more faith. Now I have a box of tea that will sit in the pantry for years. Thank you also to Martin Gingrich, who says, I don't trust Colombia food anymore. Thank you, Bebop and Rocksteady, who says it was January 2025. Anything was possible. Nostalgic 90s music playing in the background. Thank you, Firestar, thus, who says, why didn't Colombia release anything regarding this? My guess is that we're going to get a release from Colombia about this. I'm sure we will. Maybe they've already, let me check the president's X account. Thank you, way too much info. Also, thank you to Who Shot JR. And thank you, Mauricio Corbin, for the gift memberships. All right, let me check and see if we have a response from Colombia about this. But big news. Maybe the feud is over for now. Good job. Our viewers were on it. They saw. Gustavo Petro, he reposted this. Hey, look, the President of Colombia just reposted this. He reposted it. See? Hang on. I got to post this. Gustavo Petro reposted this. How do I draw a box on this? Let's see here. Is there a box thing? Blur, eraser, my little program here. Rectangle. There it is. All right, copy this. Is this going to work? Did I do it right? But the President of Colombia just literally reposted the White House press secretary statement. So I don't know if that counts as a statement, but he just reposted it, guys. You can see. So, breaking news, the President of Colombia has reposted the White House press secretary's post saying that the government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms. So, I mean, I guess it's true. We can change our headline now. Breaking news. I'm guessing there might be another statement coming soon from Colombia. Colombia agrees to Trump demands on deportation flights. How's that? But again, he reposted it. So I guess it's true. He wouldn't be reposting it unless he agreed to it. Truth WSYF says Gustavo learned quickly. You know, I was expecting, because there was we kept seeing. Oh, hold on. There's a statement right now. I think there's a statement right now. Hold on a second. Is there a statement right now? I think this is in. Is this in Colombia? Yes. Hang on a moment. I just have to make sure this is what I think it is. Or not. I don't know what this is. I think it's going on right now. Hang on. Yes, Colombia statement right now. I'm going to put it on the screen if I can get it up there. I think it's in Spanish. Let's hear what they have to say.
De deportados, garantizándoles las condiciones dignas como ciudadanos sujetos de derechos. El gobierno de Colombia bajo la directriz del presidente Gustavo Petro, tiene dispuesto el avión presidencial para facilitar el retorno de los connacionales que iban a llegar hoy al país en horas de la mañana en vuelos de deportación. Colombia ratifica que se mantendrán los canales diplomáticos de interlocución para garantizar los derechos, el interés nacional y la dignidad de nuestros ciudadanos. Muchas gracias.
The little bit I heard, I'm going to replay that, but I think he said that the United States will guarantee that they're treated with dignity. So I think I can rewind this. That was literally from Colombia. Let me see if I can rewind. I can rewind it. I bet I can rewind it. I can rewind it. I'm rewinding it now. We're going to watch that again. Okay, here it is. Foreign Ministry statement after Trump, Colombia waged tariff war. So let me just fix this thing to say moments ago. We'll watch the whole thing. At least what I have of it. Moments ago. This is the Foreign Ministry statement via AFP. Here it is. I'm playing it again. Oh, they're playing. I guess it's a tape thing. Okay. So it wasn't live. I guess it just happened when I was showing it to you. I thought it was live when I was showing it to you. But you'll see it right now. Give it a second. It'll kick in. Wait, what happened here? Now, hold on a second. Hold on a moment. I'm having a little bit of an issue. I thought I was about to play it for you. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. Oh, here it is. Right here. Watch right here.
Que hemos superado el impasse con el gobierno de los Estados Unidos. En este contexto, el canciller Luis Gilberto Murillo y el embajador Daniel García Peña viajarán a la ciudad de Washington en los próximos días para sostener reuniones de alto nivel que den seguimiento a los acuerdos resultado del trabajo conjunto que llevó al intercambio de notas diplomáticas entre los dos gobiernos. Seguiremos recibiendo a los colombianos y a las colombianas que retornen en condición de deportados, garantizándoles las condiciones dignas como ciudadanos sujetos de derechos. El gobierno de Colombia, bajo la directriz del presidente Gustavo Petro, tiene dispuesto el avión presidencial para facilitar el retorno de los connacionales que iban a llegar hoy al país en horas de la mañana en vuelos de deportación. Colombia ratifica que se mantendrán los canales diplomáticos de interlocución para garantizar los derechos, el interés nacional y la dignidad de nuestros ciudadanos. Muchas gracias.
All right, that was pretty short. I didn't get everything. He did seem to say something about that they would offer their presidential plane to help transport people. He also talked about the rights being preserved of the people getting deported and their dignity being treated with dignity. I didn't catch it. My Spanish is not good enough to catch everything. But that was, that was the short statement I have right here. I'll see if I can find like a report in a Colombian paper about it. Yes, M says they're making the presidential plane available for deportees. I thought I heard that, which had already come out. And they talked about having more talks. I think some people having more negotiations over something or other. I don't want to misrepresent what he said. Hang on. That was from AFP, that shot. Hang on. Yes. So that was, I can confirm who that was. That was Luis Gilberto Murillo, a Colombian diplomat. Luis, he was the former ambassador of Colombia in the U.S. He just spoke, Luis Gilberto Murillo. And according to El Tiempo, which is a Colombia publication, Colombia news outlet, Luis Gilberto Murillo said, we have overcome the impasse with the United States. Okay? Oh, I guess he's the current foreign minister. There's an incoming foreign minister. He is the current foreign minister. So he did announce that the impasse with the United States has been overcome. That was who that was. The foreign minister was just speaking, and he said the impasse has been overcome. JG says, no bueno, lo siento mucho, el jefe Trump. Okay. Wow, guys. How about that? We got you a resolution. We got you we were live on the air for a resolution to it. Can you believe it? White House says Colombia agrees to take deported migrants after Trump tariff showdown. See, we got closure on this. Incredible. All right, I got to take some comments from you guys. Hey, by the way, thanks to Firestar, who says, using the presidential plane, a plane with 20 seats, is that what their plane has? Compared to military jets was a joke the Colombian president was making. It's crazy people took that as a win. I mean, I think that the foreign minister just said that, but it sounds like from this announcement that the U.S. is just going to use military planes. Well, that they might. I don't know. You know what? For all the U.S. won't use military planes. Maybe that, who knows? It sounds like these flights are going to happen, that Colombia is going to take them in. Now, maybe they've reached some agreement. They didn't even say it, where that maybe the next planes won't be military planes or something, So, we haven't heard anything specifically from the president of Colombia. Maybe he'll try to spin this that he got something out of this. Like he'll say they won't handcuff them or something. I'm not sure. Thank you, Firestar, and Greg Andrews won. I would not be surprised if they don't use the presidential plane to go there and pick people up, but who knows? Thank you, Greg Andrews, for the gift membership. Thanks also, Brian Beelman. Thank you, Brian, for your support. And Camus. Camus says, so Trump manufactures a crisis, caves to Colombian demands. I don't know that he caved to Colombian demands and runs around saying Trump won. Camus, you think Trump caved to Colombia's demands? Another thing here is maybe the Colombian president was doing it for domestic political reasons. Maybe the Colombian president knew that in the end the U.S. would get what it want, but he was trying to score political points. I don't know enough about the political situation in Colombia, but I'm sure you know that in the U.S. sometimes politicians in both parties will do things just to score political points. So I have no idea what the situation is in Colombia with the politics there, but who knows? Thank you to Camus and Martin Gingrich and Kieran and Brad MC. What happens to U.S. citizens if they illegally break past the borders of Colombia? I don't know how that works. their policy on that. That's their migration policy. All right, let me again just read you this statement from the White House. This came out tonight. The President of Colombia has reposted this exact statement. So this is a statement agreed to by both sides. White House Press Secretary says the government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft, which the president earlier today said was going to be an issue, that he didn't want them on military aircraft, without limitation or delay. Based on this agreement, the tariffs and sanctions that President Trump had announced will be held in reserve and not signed unless Colombia fails to honor this agreement. The visa sanctions issued by the State Department and enhanced inspections from Customs and Border Protection will remain in effect until the first plane load of Colombian deportees is successfully returned. Today's events make clear to the world that America is respected again. President Trump will continue to fiercely protect our nation's sovereignty, and he expects all the other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the United States. Sir Tim94 says, you have to admit the tweet from the President of Colombia about the white slaver thing was kind of wild. Michael Edge says, I knew President Trump would nip it in the bud. Rock K9 says, without limitation. Ronan says, gracias, President Trump. Wall Street thinks that Trump caved. I don't know. I mean, I can't tell anything. So far, we haven't heard about anything. Well, what we've heard is if my Spanish was okay enough, we seem to hear in the short statement from the government of Colombia that their people would be treated with respect and dignity. So maybe there's been some sort of agreement by the U.S. about how to treat the deportees on the planes, maybe not put them in restraints. I don't know. We haven't heard those details yet. Marcia Brago thinks there's more to come. Just wait. The Shark thinks it was Colombia who caved. KB Camino says Fox News said Colombia demanded no shackles. Well, they demanded that. I mean, the president of Colombia had said earlier today that he didn't want them on military planes and didn't want them in handcuffs. But I don't know that anything was agreed to about that. I mean, clearly they can be on military planes because this says that. Gringo says, imagine saying this is a victory. It's Colombia, not a superpower like China or Russia, just a small country. Louis R. says, it seems like Trump got everything he wanted. He wanted military planes, and he got military planes. Rick D says, I'm sure they were treated better than how Colombia would treat us if the shoe was on the other foot. So, as of now, still no tariffs imposed by Trump during his second term. We could see some imposed on Mexico or Canada or China or some other countries, but none of them have been imposed yet. There's this debate out there as to whether Trump actually intends to impose tariff or he just intends the threat of tariffs to be used as a negotiation tactic. But those of you, hey, we did a poll earlier, said, will these tariffs from Colombia and the U.S. actually get imposed? I think a slight majority said, I can't remember what a slight majority said. I think a slight majority said yes. If you said no, you were right. Thank you to Midnight Sky High. Princess Kidda says, effective bargaining chip. Ocean Breeze says, better for both sides. I do like that we got a resolution. That doesn't happen that often when we're covering something. We come on to cover it, and then we get the resolution of it. You know? That's pretty neat to get the actual resolution. You get closure. Let me see if I have any other updates for you. Yes, Tegrity Farmer Bob says a full story happened. I agree with you. A full story happened. And I'm going to Gustavo Petro's X account. And look, you go to his X account, he reposted the White House press release about it. He still has his post pinned, which is his Defiant post to Trump from before, where he said things like he doesn't really like traveling to the U.S., he told Trump that Trump was going to wipe out the human species because of greed. He told Trump, you don't like our freedom? Okay, I don't shake hands with white slavers. He told Trump, overthrow me and the Americas and humanity will respond. All kinds of things in here. You will never rule us. And he said, I'm informed you impose a 50% tariff on the fruits of our human labor to enter the United States, and I will do the same. Anyways, he still has this posted on his account, but that's from 6 hours ago. That's the pin post, but he has also reposted the White House saying that the government of Colombia has accepted all of Trump's terms. MC says, eat crow now. Uncle Floyd GG says, that was bros just joshing around. Well, I guess your flower purchases for especially roses for Valentine's Day. If you were worried that there were going to be big sanctions on those flowers coming in from Colombia, that's a big import from Colombia, you can be relieved about that now. If you were worried about that. Read a few more comments here. Unseen Sanity says, the world is saved, LOL. IC333 says, so much winning. The one and only says, they will all come back. You think people stop crossing, then you really don't know. Integrity Farmer Bob says, I bet the flowers thing was really a factor. That's a lot of decaying inventory. Button B and me says, what country will be next, y'all? Sir Tim says, Denmark looking crazy right now. Nova Vogue thinks that Petro caved quickly. Can we see planes on flight radar? I'm not aware of any U.S. planes flying. I wouldn't know from looking at flight radar what planes are carrying migrants, but I haven't heard any reporting about any flying there. T-Bone says Trump is not dragging his feet. Maybe the U.S. government will announce some plane flying to Colombia, and lots of people will track it on flight radar. Wow! But we got an end to the story. Did the Colombia foreign minister post anything? Let's see. Or incoming foreign minister? I have a statement. I have a statement from the government of Colombia. We have a statement right here. Here it is. Hold on a second. I'm going to translate it for you. Give me a moment. Here. Hold on. I'm going to post it translated. This is the official statement from Colombia. This is the Google translated statement from Colombia. Are you guys ready? This is via Google Translate. The government of Colombia reports we have overcome the impasse with the government of the United States. In this context, the foreign minister and the ambassador will travel to Washington in the next few hours to hold high-level meetings to follow up on the agreements, the result of the joint work and exchange of diplomatic notes that took place today between the two governments. We will continue to welcome Colombians who return as deportees, guaranteeing them decent conditions as citizens with rights. The Colombian government, under the direction of President Petro, has the presidential plane ready to facilitate the return of the compatriots who were to arrive in the country today in the morning on deportation flights. Colombia confirms that diplomatic channels of dialogue will be maintained to guarantee the rights, national interests, and dignity of our citizens. So there you go. Hang on a moment here. So again, we have that official statement. That is your now. I think this was basically what was said. I think the foreign minister read this statement in his announcement. But that was the statement. Let me just show you one more time. Where did I put it? Where did I put the statement? Where did I put it here? Here it is. That is it again. That is from the Colombian government, and again, Google Translate did the translation of it. That's why it looks kind of funky. But they say they've overcome the impasse. The foreign minister and the ambassador will travel to the U.S. to have high-level meetings. There was negotiations today between the two governments. They are welcoming the Colombians who return as deportees. They say they're going to guarantee the deportees decent conditions. And they say that they have their presidential plane ready to facilitate the return of the deportees. I don't know that that's going to be used at all, the presidential plane. Doesn't say they're going to use that. It says that they offer it. And they say that they're going to continue maintaining diplomatic channels. At the bottom there, it says that they will... Oops, hold on. They will... hold on here. Anyways, the part you can't see at the bottom, the last paragraph says... Colombia confirms that diplomatic channels of dialogue will be maintained to guarantee the rights, national interest, and dignity of our citizens. So they do say that they're guaranteeing them decent conditions as citizens with rights. That was the big complaint today by the president, of Colombia, that they were not being treated with dignity and respectfully. So I guess Colombia is saying that. Oh, and by the way, Trump posted on Truth Social. Trump posted on Truth Social. He said the U.S. has a lot of winning to do. DJT. The USA has a lot of winning to do. He just posted right now. He just posted. That is his response. That is from, well, it's from 10 minutes ago. So that would be about this, though. Blackbird says, and to think this is only day 6. Uncle Floyd says, took the W. One of our viewers said, we are tired of winning so much. Tio's Landscaping says, Greenland, here we go. Firestar that says, so Trump caved to using the Colombian presidential plane. Again, I don't know that that plane is going to be used. Going forward, the plane will not allow for thousands of deportations per day. Well, no, because the statement that the U.S. government put out said that they could use whatever planes they want, including military planes. I mean, we'll have to see what planes are used. But the statement that the White House put out and that the Colombian president reposted said that the U.S. can use whatever planes it wants. It says without limitation. The statement said that the U.S., Colombia has agreed to unrestricted acceptance of illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the U.S., including on U.S. military aircraft without limitation or delay. That's what it said. Thank you, Firestar, though I appreciate it. I mean, if they end up only using the presidential plane of Colombia, that would slow things down, certainly. I think, but doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Thank you, Firestar. Thank you, Frisian Drone Aviator, for your support. Thank you, Sergey. Sergey says Petro removed the White House statement. He's not posting it on his account anymore. I mean, he did. He did repost it. Let's see. Yeah, it's not up there anymore. Gustavo Petro, president of Colombia, he took down the White House statement. But he did repost it. And I posted his repost of it, and I can prove it to you. So it's interesting that he took it down. But, I mean, he did do it. Look, there it is. Gustavo Petro reposted. So. Thanks for mentioning that, Sergey. Thank you, Midnight Sky High, who says USA winning. Stefano says, looks like he was embarrassed. Zeldamins thinks he was embarrassed. One of our viewers said maybe he meant to quote it. Well, he did repost it for a while. The foreign minister, the incoming foreign minister of Colombia just posted the statement from the Colombian government, Laura Sarabia, and she said, we will hold talks through diplomatic channels in order to preserve bilateral relations in the national interest and in defense of migrants' rights. Thank you, Patrick Davis, who says, all this winning, Charlie Sheen would be proud tiger blood. All right. Wow. So we got the statement from the US government, we got the statement from the Colombian government, we got the statement from Trump, we got Gustavo Petro reposting the US statement, although I would not be surprised if Gustavo Petro posts something at some point. Oh, thank you so much to Solid Pixel, who says the press secretary statement was just their spin. U.S. may agree to not have them in handcuffs for all we know, since there will be talks. Yeah, I literally said that a few minutes ago. Thank you, Solid Pixel. I said, for all we know, there could be something that the U.S. agreed to, like not having them in restraints. I don't know that. It's possible. It's certainly possible that something else was agreed to. I agree with you. Thank you so much, Solid Pixel. We'll have to see. Shaggy says, huge nothing burger. This should have been a simple behind-the-scenes negotiation. Look, maybe, in another administration, it would have been done all behind the scenes. Don't know. Do not know. Gringo says, agreed. Our viewer, Mecha Prompto, says, I prefer it out in the open. IRL Enthusiast says, Trump era, it's a drama sport. Well, we got to see it live. We got to see the denouement. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Live. Denouement? Denouement, not moi. Denouement, I think it is. The outcome, the final resolution, denouement. I'm still probably pronouncing it wrong. Anyways, Janice thinks we won't ever know what Trump really agreed to. David Lee says there were agreements already in place over the past 8 years for 3 to 4 deportation flights a week on civilian planes. This is just a nothing burger. You mean it's a nothing burger that they're making flights? I mean, I don't think it's a nothing burger that Trump and the president of Colombia were literally threatening each other with 25. We're vowing they were going to impose 25 and 50% tariffs on each other. That definitely happened, but it has not happened ultimately. But yes, there have been plenty of flights from during previous administrations of deportees to Colombia. Look, just as an example, this is from Associated Press. Colombia accepted 475 deportation flights from the U.S. from 2020 to 2024, fifth behind Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, and El Salvador. Colombia accepted 124 deportation flights from the U.S. in 2024. Also, Colombia last year began accepting U.S.-funded deportation flights from Panama. All right, guys. Tweety Pie says, profound change in leadership for the better. Ronan says, Petro thought he was tough. David Gray says, it was the Works burger. All right, guys, I think it's our time. We've covered it. We came on to cover it. We saw live when the press secretary of the White House, it's Carolyn Leavitt, right, came out with her announcement, and the situation has been resolved. You can go to bed relaxing. You can go to bed calm and not worrying about this situation, I guess, for the time being. Or worry about the price of roses or coffee if you're in the U.S. Or maybe you're in Colombia and worrying about prices there. So anyways, I really appreciate you guys joining our stream tonight. Our coverage of the Trump-Colombia feud. And yeah, we will have more coverage of big news events when they happen. So subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Subscribe and follow and turn on notifications because I don't know when big news is going to happen. I didn't know this was going to happen today. So we have a notification system. It works great. It's free. You sign up once. You get sent a notification whenever we go live. It's really reliable. We do it through Discord. The mods will post the notifications link in the chat. You can also find it in the description of this video on Facebook and YouTube. So sign up for notifications, and I will post updates about this and other stories on X. That is where I post breaking news on X. Follow me there, at Lookner on X. I will throw the link in the chat for that. Oops, hold on a second here. There, I just posted it in the chat. Oh, thanks, Tonia's Busy. Tonia's Busy says it was interesting to see the resolution. Thank you, Matthew Felty. Matthew Felty says ANI reports transfer of diverted people in Honduras. I haven't seen anything about that, Matthew. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to look into it. Thank you, Matthew Felty. But I appreciate you guys being here, and I'm glad we were able to. A lot of times we can't do this, but I'm glad we were able to bring you a resolution to the story on the air. That's good. Thanks for posting in the chat, for sending me comments and updates. A lot of you guys were sending me updates tonight. The first I heard about the press release was from somebody in the chat, I think, or somebody who messaged me. So great work. I appreciate you letting me read your comments on the air and chatting and watching. Speaking of the chat, huge thanks to our moderators. They are the best. We couldn't have a chat rooms without our moderators. So they're the ones who allow us to do it. So give a shout to them. Really appreciate them. People like Ruth Krafasi over there on YouTube. Thank you. I know Sarah, 55, has been over there. We've had a bunch of moderators there, Sabrina and others. All of our YouTube mods, thank you. Over on Twitch, thanks so much for being there. Idaho Star, McBritches, Sarah, Surly Dev, thank you. Also, thanks Notorious Rob on Twitch for your support as well. Thanks, Notorious Rob. So all of our Twitch mobs, thank you. Twitch mods, Sarah, Surly Dev, McBritches, Idaho Star, all of our other ones over there, thank you. On Facebook, Kay Lowry, Body, Margaret Riley, thanks so much for moderating on Facebook, thank you. And Linda Belkin and Paul Anderson, thank you, Paul, so much for moderating. Linda Belkin, Larry over there on X, thank you. And let's see here. Oh, thanks to everybody who donated. So nice of you guys. Really appreciate your support of the channel. You are the ones who allow this channel to exist with your support. So thank you so much. If you ever want to donate, go to agendafree.tv. Agendafree.tv. Casey, Steve, and everybody else who donated, thank you. I think I thanked everybody. Oh, Bebop and Rocksteady, thanks for being a member. Bebop and Rocksteady says, what a week, finishing with a win for America. Thanks also to... I'm going to thank some other people in a second. But I do want to mention we have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. The Discord chat, it's free. A lot of our viewers like doing that. The link to the Discord chat is the same as the notifications link. So check out the Discord chat at the notifications link. If the mods want to post that again, they can. And it's free. Thanks to our Discord mods, too, for all you do. Our Discord moderators, thank you. One place you can go to find more news about Agenda Free TV and updates about the channel is our X account, at Agenda Free TV on X. I post there when we're going live. I post updates about the channel there. So if you're on X, follow at Agenda Free TV. Also, if you're a YouTube viewer, I would suggest that you turn on the YouTube notifications. Good way to find out when we're live there. But to turn on YouTube notifications is a little tricky. What you need to do is you subscribe on YouTube and then you click the notifications bell and you choose all notifications. So make sure if you're subscribed on YouTube that you have the bell checked and all chosen. Okay. Hey, thanks to our Facebook subscribers for all your support. People like Melissa Melissa Ayako Bachi. Michael Clayton, good to see you, Michael. Eve Richards, Diane Allworth, Margaret Riley, Kay Larry Body, Robert Rial II. All of our other Facebook subscribers, really appreciate you subscribing and supporting the channel. And by the way, Bud Green was moderating too. Thank you so much, Bud, for moderating, Bud Green. Kevin Price says another win. Kevin Price, thanks for subscribing on Facebook as well. Also, Lou Green as well too. Thanks to our Twitch subscribers like McBritches, Shaggy, Wall Street, Simp Nasty Shrimp, Geeg, Notorious Rob, Devil Doc, EMT Pirate, Jack's Animals, Ken in Florida, Billy Joe, Mr. Neo Trip. Thanks for subscribing. Night Owl, thank you for subscribing. All of our other subscribers over there, thank you. Oh, and thanks, Notorious Rob, for your support. Thank you, Notorious Rob. Thanks also to our YouTube members, like Dinesh Kumar, and Evelyn in Maine, and Mama Dukes, and Macro Geek, and Josh Sylvester, and Gen X Racer OG, and that guy from That Thing, and Dr. McRib, and Raven, and Kurt W9BBW, E Oddity, thanks for being a member, Jules Henderson, Matthew Felty, Rick D, Don, Com Dog. No, I think it's Corn Dog. Truth WSYF, Jennifer Rochelle, Brian Beelman, Dirt Cheap, Ronin, Hot Pink 90s Son, Veronica 100, Paul S. Gringo, and all of our other members. Thank you. Jay Knows Which. Also, Ali P. from Canada, thanks for watching. Bobby Sue, thanks for watching. Bubba Sizemore. Larry Clark says, please don't take my Colombia coffee away from me. Thank you, Anthony Ciaccio, for the gift membership. So nice of you, Anthony. Thank you, Minidisc, for watching over there on Twitch. Pineways, thanks for watching on Twitch. Hot Rodacy, I Beat Kasparov. Oh, by the way, this week we're going to be covering, this coming week, we'll be covering, I guess on the, I think it's the 29th and 30th, the RFK Jr. confirmation hearing, and then the day after that, I think, is the confirmation hearing for both Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard. I think they're on the same day. Anyways, keep an eye out for that. We'll be covering those confirmation hearings this week in the mornings. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be on the air live. All right. Thanks, Sama, for watching on Facebook, and Millie Joe Drage and all of our other viewers. Thank you, Faux ARC, for being a member as well. Thank you, Yaya Is Me, for your support. Thank you. All right, guys, we're wrapping it up. I should do one last check and make sure the President Petro didn't post anything new that I missed. No, I don't see anything new there from President Petro. Well, guys, we are wrapping it up. So you have been watching. Oh, hold on. President Trump posted one other thing that you should see. This was after the announcement that Colombia had agreed to the president's demands. Trump posted, "There is a bright light over the USA and indeed the entire world ever since the presidential election of 2024. That is what Trump posted. I just noticed that. Los Cuatro Jinetes says, war averted with Colombia? Okay, well, I will leave you on that note. IB Kasparov says that's a wrap. Okay, guys, we will leave you with that post from Trump on his True Social. Yeah, one of our viewers says drones. That guy from that thing says drones. Okay, guys, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching our live coverage of the Colombia-Trump feud, and we will see you soon with more live breaking. Did I thank everybody here? I think I did. Let me just make one quick check here. I think I got everybody. Yes. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.